Welcome to Residential Tech Talks. I'm Jeremy Glowacki, Executive Editor of Residential Tech Today. On this week's podcast, joining me from Columbus, Ohio, just around the corner from where I am in Carmel, Indiana, is Kat Wheeler, a regional sales manager for Snap One, the mega supplier and manufacturer of just about everything for the smart home, including Control 4 home automation products. But in addition to that, Kat is also a first-time author, having self-published what she calls a tech mystery novel titled There Is No Cloud. It's a book that centers around people and products that will probably be familiar to anyone who has worked in the residential tech industry for a while. I wanted to have her on the show to learn about her writing adventure, but also to get to know her more as her career has developed and her experiences in tech and all the fun stuff that we always try to talk about on this podcast. Kat Wheeler, thanks for joining me today. Great to meet you.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
And before we talk about your book, which I definitely want to get into kind of in the later part of the podcast, I just wanted to really get to know you better. And we talked a little bit before we started recording, but I wanted the audience to be in on some of that. And what I've observed from looking into your, LinkedIn, is that you've been in both an independent sales rep for some firms that I'm familiar with, such as Sapphire Marketing out of New York. Marla Suttenberg is someone who I've crossed paths with in the past and really, really admired and respected and enjoyed spending time talking to. And now you're a regional sales manager for Snap One. Can you just describe a little bit about what your current role is all about? What does a regional sales manager for a company that's as big as Snap One actually do?
So currently I'm an area sales manager for Snap One, and my territory is Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and a little bit of West Virginia. And so my role is to sell and manage all of our dealers' products and purchases in our territory. So that includes all of the Snap One family of products, as well as our third-party product offerings.
Okay, so are you going out into the field and meeting with dealers at their locations?
Yes. More in the past, before COVID, obviously. Right. But we are back out on the road now. So I travel around, meet my dealers, have meetings with them, do trade shows and events, all of the general things.
Right. And so you've got a diverse lineup of products that you represent then with Snap One now. There's so much that you kind of have to know about. Has it?
We do. It's
it was good.
It's a large brand package.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm sorry to keep cutting you off. In the past, was your focus more specialized on certain technologies, or is this the broadest you've ever had to represent?
It may be from just a pure quantity standpoint, but every rep firm has a disparate line of products. Yeah. And especially with Snap One right now, all of those products that we sell are for the same jobs. So it isn't as challenging or as intimidating as it may sound to say you have all of these products, but all of these products are used for the same customer and for the same category. So we have every product that you need to complete one installation. So it actually makes a lot of sense. All the products that we sell and carry, they all come together in a really unique way. And so that makes it easier, because when we're talking to customers, it's not necessarily like we're only talking about one category or one product or one thing. We're talking about an entire job. And the cohesiveness of that fits in really well, because we have products through our own product lineups, our recent acquisitions, and also through the third-party products that we sell, so that I can go to any customer and know that whatever kind of project they're working on, I have everything that fits in that need.
How integral is your role when I know Snap One, as it was Snap AV, one of the first things that just really got it on the map as a company was the online portal aspect to it for dealers, and that was before your time at the company, but it's still respected as one of the best places for dealers to go in and order products. So is a lot of what you do education when new things come out, or is there definitely an ordering process that can be handheld sort of, as opposed to just going on the website? What part of that process do you do?
Yeah. There can be. I mean, there can be ways to order outside of the website. We strongly recommend it. It's the best way to do it. And it makes everybody's life easier because people can go on and shop at any time of the day. But one of the biggest tenets of Snap One is that we are here to support the customer in whatever way we can and make their lives easier. So having the breadth of products that we do and the way that dealers can access them makes it easier for everyone. So, in addition to having our online portal, which makes their lives better, we also have local stores now, and so many local stores. I think we're up to 27. So dealers can shop there at any time as well. They can also order products and pick them up. We'll call 24 hours a day. We'll ship to job sites. So everything that we do is really strategic in making our customers' lives better and easier.
So then what is it that you specifically tend to have in your wheelhouse as far as your value that you provide? It seems like in the old days when I would talk to an independent rep, it's certain lines that they're really trying to get a dealer who they've known for years. Like you really should start specifying this outdoor TV. You don't carry an outdoor TV, something very specific like that maybe. Then you're dealing with something like Snap One. You've got a pretty dedicated dealer base for a company that's got so many solutions. Are you just there to kind of help in case of there's an issue on product not being available, and you can be their kind of point person in their territory to help them out? Are you problem solver basically for them if needed, or are you looking to grow new business for Snap for those who aren't working with them yet?
All of those things. We're obviously always looking to grow our business. That's my primary function. So it is looking for categories that maybe dealers don't spend with us, or spend elsewhere, where we can get their buy-in in different categories that maybe they purchase 2 or 3 categories for us and they could purchase 10. So we're always looking for those opportunities. A big part of it, specifying products, doing design work with my dealers, helping them on job sites, I do a lot of presentation CEU classes for architects and designers with them to kind of do that. We do a lot of in-house training, so train guys and their teams on how to, use Oversee or do networking better, or how to use Wattbox and install it correctly and use all the features. Because sometimes even when dealers do have buy-in in certain categories with us, it's either very narrow or very limited, or they don't use all the features that are available to them. So there's a lot, even if they do buy some things, there's a lot of training involved with that as well. So I do all of those things.
Oh, that's great. That's a very valuable role. And what other brands have you worked with in the past, either in maybe at Sapphire or other positions that you've held?
Wow, so many. I can't even. I would love to be able to remember all the line cards of all the places that I've worked. But at Sapphire, primarily Crestron, digital projection, a lot of lines there. I remember my first line card because it was the first one. So so the first job I ever had in outside sales was worked for a company called Dorrance Audio Marketing in Kentucky. And we were at B&W, Rotel, Runco, Class A, Vidicron, United Leather, D-Box, Stewart. And I think that's it. But I could always remember that one because it was the first one, and it was like I knew all the brands.
Yeah, those are some good ones. Some legacy and some current, just awesome brands. But and what is the pathway for someone to get into the career that you've been in for a while now? What were you doing that brought you to tech, I guess?
I was a bartender.
Okay.
I was in college. Yeah, I was in college and I was tending bar, and I lived in Kentucky. I was going to college there, and in Kentucky bars are open till 4:00 in the morning, wow. And I had classes at 8 a.m. and it was really hard for a while. And so thinking about it, I was like, I got to get like another job. I got to do something like I got to do anything. So as was the big website in the day, I got on monster.com to find myself a job, and I did, and I found myself a job as a receptionist at an AV shop in Kentucky. And it was a Crestron and B&W and, a cool little place called Digital Lifestyles. And I was the receptionist there, and I did like the bookkeeping and all of that stuff while I was in school. And while I was doing that, I got to know our rep, Bob Dorrance, for really well. We were really close to his house, so he came in all the time, and we got to be friends. And he was like, "You could do this if you want to." And I fell in love with the industry. He liked me. He took me on my first sales calls. He taught me everything I'll ever know about sales. He took me on the road for the first time, took me to my first CEDIA, and did all that stuff, and really helped me learn. And from there, it just took off. I fell in love with the industry, and I've never wanted to do anything else, and I never have.
What a great mentor. I mean, what a what a great idea to say this is, I mean, not to just say, oh, this is just a receptionist and I'm not going to consider hiring somebody like that, but to really hear who you are and know that you're sharp and picking up on the stuff that he's working with and saying, hey, this is a great career path. Because we don't see very many women in this industry, specifically on the rep side, I guess. And you and I talked before the recording, you confirm that you're typically one of the few, correct?
Typically, I'm usually, if not the only one of very, very few women that's doing sales. It was a little bit different at Sapphire and at Crestron because they do have a lot of women in sales roles, but most other places, it's pretty few and far between.
Yeah, Marla's a real pioneer, I guess, in that regard. And is it more common on the commercial side?
I think it is. I think commercially it is. It's definitely more common. I think residentially, I'm still one of the very, very few. I think there's one or two other ones out there who are amazing. Commercially, it's a lot more common.
And what did it mean to work during that time with someone like Marla, who's a strong presence in the industry? She's obviously got the connection that some people don't know about to the recently retired Randy Klein at Crestron, but she, as her own company, I had nothing but respect and heard nothing but kind things about how great she was to work with. So that must have been a really great time to learn about being a leader as a woman in the industry.
I couldn't tell you how much I've learned from her. I think I've been really lucky in my life and in my career that I've gotten to work for some pretty amazing mentors, and Marla's right there at the top. She not only is a pioneering woman in our industry, but she's an amazing just salesperson in her own right, woman or not. But she's also, I mean, like you said, extremely kind, but she's also patient and she's a teacher. And she was, I mean, wonderful to me the whole time I was there. I couldn't have asked for anything more. And so I think it's inspiring to be around people like that and people that are so powerful and at the pinnacle of their careers that can still take the time to work with people and be a mentor. And I think that's really impressive. And I hope to do that one day.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious too. I work around tech and in tech, write about tech. I love having it in my home when it works. And when it doesn't, I get really frustrated and wish that I didn't have it. And sometimes I'm not qualified to fix it. And I wish I could be, because I'm a handy person, but there's only so far I can take it. You've got all these trainings and things under your belt, which is great for the products that you represent. Are you a fan of home technology in your own residence?
Absolutely. I have it in my house. So to be fair, I didn't put it all in. I did have one of my dealers come out and do it because I don't like to run the wires and I don't touch electric. So when I had the lighting control put in, I did have somebody come out and put the shades in because but I do love it and I live with it and I would have it no other way. I like all the new toys. I get everything when it first comes out. I'm a big fan of it. I try to stay out of the beta testing though, because I like for my stuff to work all the time. I try to stay away from that. But yeah, I'm the first person on the train when we get new products.
Well, so what do you like the most right now? I mean, it's a tough question to answer at times. I don't like when people ask me. I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but what do you like about your home and specifically to some of the technology that you have?
So I just got the shades not too long ago. So I'm loving that right now. I think it's one of the coolest things. I have a townhouse. Okay. So I have 3 floors. So my absolute favorite thing is when I go to bed at night, I'm on the 3rd floor and I can just tell Alexa, I don't want her to wake up.
Trigger.
To turn all the lights off. And she does.
Nice.
Do it. And then like lower all the shades and all of those things. So I don't have to like look anywhere in my house or I don't have to get out my iPad or my phone and like do anything. I just tell her and it all shuts down. So I think that might be the coolest thing. And the wake up thing in the morning, all the shades go up, all the lights come on and, so that's my new favorite thing. A lot of the environmental stuff I think is the most fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the unsung best thing that we could ever promote in this industry, frankly. And I don't happen to, just because of the way my windows are designed and things, I don't have shades in every window. I have an example of a shade so I can live with it and know what it's like. And I can imagine that it would be awesome to be able to shut them everywhere and not walk around every night doing that. But I do have.
Well, I would just never do it. And I think most people wouldn't. And people, especially people, the kind of projects that we work on that have these huge homes, who does
Right.
that? Who gets up every day and opens all the blinds? Like, no one would do
Right.
that. I never did it before I got the shades in. And I was like, people probably think like I'm a hermit or like, I don't actually live here. The shades are never open. So now it's just an easier way to live. So I think it's one of the best experiences we can give to our customers. Same thing with lighting control. Yeah. It's just such a better lifestyle experience. And so our customers can really gravitate to that.
Yeah. I happen to have control for lighting control and I love it. And
thank you for your support.
Yeah. Well, I had a really great local dealer that I worked with, Millennium Sounds, and still enjoy working with them when I need something added or tweaked. But I do think that it's great that you get to live with it. That's a key to really being a true representative of the products and technologies for sure.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to have the experience, because it's not looking at a box isn't the same thing as experiencing it and living with it. So
right.
I think it's important.
So we were talking a little bit about being a woman in tech, and I was wondering if you could sort of share that you have an organization that you've been a part of or helped put together there at Snap that is kind of a collaborative group. Can you talk about that?
So last year we founded a Women in Technology group at Snap One. We're always changing and growing at our company. And especially now that everybody is working remotely, there's not a lot of opportunity to connect with people, especially outside of your department. And we're such a large company now that makes, feeling like you're a part of it pretty challenging. So we started a Women in Tech group. It's up to 85 members now, which I'm pretty proud about. I think that's pretty amazing. And we do all sorts of different group efforts. So we have a book club. We read a new book every month or two. We just finished a great one, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. I don't know if you've read that, but it's really cool about cellular biology and the technology around medical research. It's really interesting. Sorry. We just had our meeting yesterday, so I'm still on that one. But we do that. We also do a quarterly panel where we invite women leaders around our industry to come in and talk to the group. I think for me, I've been really lucky. I've been exposed to this industry for a long time, but that's not always the case with women in our industry. Women in our company in different departments have never gone to CEDIA or met anyone outside of our company that works in our industry. So we wanted to kind of expose them to the huge whole that they're a big part of. So we had, Carol Campbell and Heather Sturwitz and Amanda Wildman and Mary Ellen Oswald and Katie McGregor Bennett and Jamie Brustmeister come in and talk. We do these great women panels around different topics and talk about what their lives are like and what their jobs are like. And Amanda's wonderful because she talks about being an installer. And I think it opened a lot of eyes about what opportunities are out there and what other women are doing and contributing. And I think it's extremely inspiring.
Yeah, Jamie has written for us. Obviously, she was a guest on the podcast, and Amanda, we've profiled recently and was a guest on the podcast too. And she's just a great representative from the integration side. It's such a rarity. We have a few strong folks out there that we know about. There are more than I realized as I get to go out in the world. And I was just at the ProSource Summit, and I met, a lot of times it's a husband and wife 50-50 partnership, which I'm always just really careful of, like, meeting someone on the female side of that and saying, so you're the owner, right? Because I want to just go right in as strong as I can go and not just assume, because I'm sure they've heard so much of that, like, oh, you're the wife of the owner. and she told me this is definitely something she's learned to live with. And I guess we're 50-50 partners. And so that was really cool, just to add one more to the list there. But I know it's a rarity. That's great that you're doing that. And it's always good to have that camaraderie.
Yeah, and then the one other thing that we started is a mentorship program too. So we paired all of the women up with, some of the newer people in our industry that have expressed an interest in having mentors. So I got a mentee, which is pretty fun.
Nice.
So it's just a nice way for everybody to connect and get a little more exposed to our industry and what else is going on out there. And I think it's important. I think if I had those opportunities when I was starting out in my career, it would have probably made all the difference in the world to me.
Well, that's great to hear. And but speaking of a book club, we will continue our conversation with Kat Wheeler and talk about that book after a short break.
Founded in 2005 by a team of highly skilled audio veterans, Wet Sounds is an award-winning Texas-based marine audio company bringing a level of performance, style, and durability unparalleled in the audio industry. Wet Sounds is proud to introduce you to the Venue Series 110-volt 1200-watt 4-channel amplifier system. The VS1200 amplifier was specifically designed to power Venue Series products while utilizing a 110-volt power source. Included is the VS-LS ENC, a purpose-built landscape enclosure designed to house the Wet Sounds VS1200 amp with the plug-and-play media center in harsh outdoor environments. Learn more, visit wetsounds.com.
Welcome back. I'm talking with Kat Wheeler, Regional Sales Manager for Snap One and the author of a book that is called There Is No Cloud. It's a self-published endeavor that I got to read and enjoyed, and it's a tech mystery novel. And Kat, to kind of kick it off, I want to read the back description. I'm gonna put my glasses on like I'm a cool TV reporter here, and it says, "You never know what's listening." As a sales rep for Smart Tech, the world's largest home automation company, Cameron Caldwell's job is to keep customers happy and buying. That means the current bane of her existence is a rival company's home AI device, the Home Tech Hub. Her customers want to use the HTH's voice commands to control the electronics she's selling them. And if she wants to keep selling to them, she needs to make sure that happens. Why can't they just ask it the weather and be happy with that? I think I know what we're talking about there, but I'm not going to say it because, it'll respond back. While attempting to get tech support for one of her clients, Cameron finds something strange in a Home Tech Hub and is immediately curious. Is there something about the product no one's supposed to know? But when people start dying, she knows something far more complex is going on, and she's determined to find out what the technology the whole world has let into their homes actually does. As Cameron digs deeper into something she never thought would be possible, she starts to wonder what she's gotten herself into and whether she'll be able to get out. Wow, yes. Enticing. So
it's a little dramatic.
It is dramatic, but that's how you get people's attention. And I said to you in an email, I found a lot of familiar kind of people personalities that I've come across in the industry, obviously references to technology. And as someone in the industry, I'm sure that so many people that would read this who are in the industry it's like a game. Like, who's she talking about? All right. Is this about her? Like that type of thing. So I just admire that you wrote a book. And I think that it's something when it's not your career per se, you're not an author full time, to be able to pull that off is just amazing. I've never attempted it and I write for a living. What inspired you to write a book?
I'm a huge reader and I have been my whole life. I love books. I love all of them. I read anything I can get my hands on in any genre. I always have. My dad was always really cool. We had books in our house growing up and I read from a very young age. So it's always been a part of my life. I don't think that I decided I wanted to write a book until, I probably always did, but I didn't decide to do it until much later. And I was looking for a hobby that I could take on the road with me because, as outside reps, all we do is travel. So I was getting bored. You can only sit in so many hotel rooms and go to so many hotel bars and watch so much TV and you get bored. So I tried to learn how to knit first. It didn't go well. And then I decided I was going to write a book. And so I was talking to one of my dealers about it out on a call and he's like, well, what are you going to write a book about? You got to write about what you know. And I was like, this is all that I know. So I'll write about this. And I thought about it for a while. I kind of molded around and as somebody who's familiar with a lot of books, there's a ton of book series out there about, little mystery sleuth, little amateur sleuth women who, one works at the bakery and one works at the flower shop. And there's the girl who walks dogs and, solves mysteries and whatever. And I thought, why can't a girl who works in consumer electronics, solve mysteries? And wouldn't it be cooler if all of those mysteries were caused by technology and the solutions were also using technology in what we do? So I thought it'd be really fun. And I think it turned out that way. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
Well, and I know that's a really great story and a really great motivation as well. I can only imagine that boredom that sets in when you do this as much as you do it, the travel part of it, and to put something, productive to work there in terms of writing, and it's a really good mystery, and I think that the representation of tech is really cool. I love that in one of your author notes or the credits at the end, you made sure to tell your dealer friends to calm down, that that some of this can't really happen. It's a fictional account.
So it's a lot. The finished product obviously goes through a lot of iterations. It was a completely different thing for a while, and when you're working with the publisher and whatever, it goes back and forth a lot between you and them, right? So you send it in, and people read it, and they tell you what they think and what makes sense or what doesn't, and what they like, what they don't like, what characters they like, who they don't, all that stuff. So I kept getting it back, and it kept being like, no one wants to read stereo instructions. Because there were so many parts of it. There's a part in particular where she breaks into a home and she's trying to get technology out of it. And there was 5 pages of well, the HDMI didn't connect. And, is it a needed problem? I don't know. I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. So people were like, no one wants to read that. You have to really cull this down. And so I did. And so some parts skip over a lot of that, how it would work, or just kind of gloss through what's happening to make it make sense. Because I guess not that entertaining to read stereo instruction.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. And I'm curious about this process. So I said it's self-published, and
it is.
Yeah, and there's this but there's this company that you work with that's sort of they do act as a gatekeeper, so to speak, for that process. Is that what you're...
Yeah. So when I finished it, or when I kind of had a rough draft and was finished with it, I was kind of like, well, what do you do now? Right. Am I going to actually publish this, or did I just write a book just to write a book? And then I was I thought, well, you did it. You might as well just go for it, put it out there, see what happens. Well, how do you do that? Right. And is it actually good enough to do that? So I looked on the internet where all answers lie. And I found, the first thing I did was I found a guy who critiques manuscripts and tells you kind of if they're publishable and gives you a whole report on them. And he said it was good enough. So I was like, okay, I believe that guy. He was a professor. It made sense. And so from there, I kind of decided, okay, I'm going to self-publish, but I don't really know how to do that. And yes, it's easy. You just upload a document to Amazon. But if I do this, I want to do it in the most professional way possible, right? I don't want to just put something out there that's riddled with mistakes and a cover that I made I'm not an artist. It would not have been good. So I wanted to kind of, do it the best way that I could. So I looked in the back of a lot of books that I like that were self-published, found a company that does it. And the great thing about them is they take you through a whole process. So they give you a schedule. It's 6 months long. And at the beginning, you send them the roughest draft, and then it comes back, and then there's content edits and, creative edits. And it goes back and forth a ton of times. And while you're doing that, you're working with a graphic designer on the cover, you're writing the blurbs in the back and the front, and those go out and get critiqued and come back and helped. So I appreciated that there was a structure to it, because it made it easier for me to keep on track. Right. I don't know that I probably would have put it away and gotten distracted, and, I have a full-time job, work is busy. So I would have done that instead of kind of pushing through it, I think. So it made it a lot easier, and it definitely, for a first-time person doing it, it made it possible for me. I
had no idea that world existed. That's really interesting. And it's a great motivator when you're so close to the finish line not to give up, because you're kind of working
to do it. And like I said, to do it well, because, you can put anything out there in the world, but I wanted it to be done and be done professionally. And the same company is actually helping me with the sequel. So
you're working on another one
now. Yeah, it's almost done. It should be out October, November.
Nice. Okay. And these are available if someone wanted. I mean, you gave me a review copy, but available for purchase and download.
Available for purchase and download, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the places you buy books. There is an ebook Kindle version. It's also on Kindle Unlimited, which is their free service. So you can read it for free if you're a Kindle Unlimited subscriber, or buy the ebook, or you can buy the paperback.
Oh, that's really cool. And I did enjoy reading the credits, because that's where you could reveal actual people that I knew. And and I did want to just note one was Fred Bargatze at Crestron, the Chief Technology Officer, who sadly passed away, and was recently honored with a memorial scholarship with his alma mater. That was really great to hear. But I was not surprised at all that he was probably a good consultant on some of the tech on this in this book.
So I had never talked to him about it. I don't think he even knew about it. So it was pretty untimely in that way. I think he would have thought it was really cool. I thanked him because he was always really kind. And I know that probably sounds silly, but when you're at a company as big as Crestron and there's a lot of people and you're really new, it's extremely intimidating because everybody there is so smart and so good at their jobs, and you're always really intimidated. And Fred, being in the position that he was, is a big deal, right? But he was always so nice and so kind, and he always would stop and talk to you and ask your opinion and really listen and like be a really active listener and like care about what you thought. And that's pretty rare when you're pretty low on the totem pole at some places. And it just meant a lot to me. So, and everybody at there did. So I thought, I kind of got to thank somebody for that when they go out of their way to make people, and not just me, but everybody that worked with him, feel special and important. I think that's one of the nicest things you can say about somebody.
Yeah, he's another one that I just have heard nothing but kind comments about his generosity and his kindness himself. And we crossed paths a few times in meetings, but I didn't really know him very well personally. I just knew his reputation, and I thought at a company that is pretty aggressive, being Crestron, and the leadership is pretty domineering, has been in the past, and that's all I'm going to say. To have someone who it's such an important role as Fred be a gentle person and just be kind and not like over the top with type A personality or whatever, was just really refreshing behind the scenes there. And so that jumped out at me, and I was curious then you were confident in your descriptions of the technology as you wrote, just because of your experience and knowledge of the industry, or did you bounce ideas off of people as you wrote on some of the tech stuff?
No, I mean, all the tech stuff is for me. The one thing in that book that I did bounce off of a dealer, we were at a point where I needed to have her, and again, the scene where she breaks into somebody's house, and I did it in one way, and I was talking to one of my dealers, and I did it in this really like backwards contrived, like it took like 10 pages, like waste of time for her to do it. He's like, you don't have to do all that. He's like, go on YouTube and look, there's a guy that teaches you how to open like like automated door locks. He's like, you can do it with a laser. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that suggestion came from him. But yeah, all the technology and all the stuff in the book is me. And the same thing in the second book. I do have one of the guy that the character Bill is based on. He's actually reading through the second book right now to make sure that it's okay. Because the mystery in the second book is a little more tech heavy and a little more involved. So I wanted to get a second opinion on that one. But yeah.
What about the cop side of things? Did you use crime procedural shows as your reference point for?
Yes, totally, absolutely. Yeah. It's completely from watching,
like Law and Order and stuff like that.
TV. Yeah, like Law and Order. Sure.
Yeah, I know. I think we all feel like we know how that whole thing works, and even if it's a fictionalized account.
There was some stuff that I had to like look up just to make sure that like I wasn't just like remembering incorrectly, like people in positions and like what levels you would be. And so there was a lot of that I like looked up just to double check. But yeah, no, I mean, I can't 100% guarantee the accuracy, but I'm pretty sure it's all right. or it was. Yeah, It was, yeah, it was I hate saying it was a solo project because so many people have been helpful after the fact and been really supportive. That's the one great thing about our industry. Yeah. And so many people have been, we're an inspiration. I mean, bless their hearts, the two guys that are the inspiration for Phil and Bill have been such good sports and had such good humor about the whole thing because it's not hard to figure out who they are and everybody's kind of been giving them a hard time.
Right, so. Right.
Sorry.
Well, that's great. We'll hopefully get you some more readers through the podcast. And are you headed to CEDIA in September? Are you able to go?
Yes, I'm excited. It's close enough to me. I get to drive, which is great. So I will be there. And for me too, because my territory is so close, a ton of my dealers are coming. And I think this year is super special for us because they're bringing more of their people. Because again, you don't have to fly, they can drive than in years past. So fingers crossed things don't get weird between now and then. Yeah. But I'm hopeful.
Yeah, me too. It seemed like we were going along so well there. And I just attended, like I said, the buying group meeting, ProSource, and it was smaller than a ProSource meeting would be. And there were some rooms with a lot of people with no masks on. And like a month ago, I would have been fine with that. But it was like kind of getting that little unsure. Are we all vaxxed here? Because this whole new strain is really making me nervous. So
I was at ISC West in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And that was interesting. The day that we were leaving, because again, it was a mask-free zone at the hotel, but the whole way there, like on the plane and in the Ubers, you're all masked up and then you get to the hotel and it's like free zone. I don't know how that's decided, but we were there, and then on the day we were leaving, the governor, the mayor, or whatever, was reintroducing the mask mandate for Vegas. So on the day we were leaving,
I do believe there was one company that might have had a little bit of an issue that was at that event. I won't name names, but that was the rumor when we got to ProSource, and I. Hopefully my wife's not listening to this because she's like, "You're wearing a mask when you get there." I'm like, "Sure thing, we'll do." And then as soon as you walk in the door and you're the only one, you're like, not wearing a mask, because honestly, it doesn't matter at this point because mask protects them from you, not you from them. Let's just all keep our fingers crossed that we're all grown-ups here and we got vaccinated and we're not contaminated.
Well, I will say they were pretty diligent about it. You could go mask-free if you were vaccinated, and they made you kind of, agree to a waiver when you registered that you would be honest and, kind of forthright. And then they did temperature check everybody going in. So every morning we walked through and, got our temperature done and got our little approved sticker and went inside. And there was a lot of, stringent cleaning going on between the days and things like that. So
our hotel was completely great. Like the staff was all masked up and they were cleaning, and that's where it was held in a hotel. And, it was really just our event that was a little wheels off, but we all signed a thing too, and there was a thing about temperature checks that never actually occurred, but we'll go with that. But I am going to be there at CEDIA. Looking forward to finding you on the show floor and meeting you in person, so we can say hello.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited to see people again. It's been, for an outside sales rep who's used to spending, 3 weeks of the month on the road, this last year and a half has been a little bit different, a little bit of a lifestyle change. So I think it's going to be nice to be able to be in front of my customers again and, kind of have that interaction in that way that we've been missing for some time.
Yes. In your career, your job description is about people. I try to hide behind a computer most of the time personally. But it's healthy to be around humans in person for sure. We can't do it all virtually, and I agree with you. It'll be good for all of us who can make it. So, great talking to you, Kat. Thanks so much for joining me today. It's been awesome learning about your career and more about the book.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Kat Wheeler is a regional sales manager for Snap One and author of the book There Is No Cloud. You can track her down on LinkedIn under Catherine Wheeler and find the book at all the places that she described. So do that, support that book. It's a lot of fun to read for sure. That wraps up today's show. If you're new to Residential Tech Talks, please subscribe to the weekly podcast and consider rating and reviewing us wherever you listen or watch us. Also, check out all the latest residential tech news at the magazine's website, restechtoday.com. where you can also subscribe to the bi-monthly print or digital magazine and to our Tuesday and Friday email newsletters. Until next time, please stay safe, stay inspired, and let us know if you have a great story to tell.
Residential Tech Talk, lighting specialist to Residential Tech Talk.
Home automation device, home or smart house.